Well, obviously, we were all excited to see Hagen Smith get his first college start, and thought there was a lot of energy in our dugout. I even told the team after the game, I said, it's great that you had that energy. I love it. I said, you might want to give a little love to the veterans too. It just seemed like they were really pulling hard for him. I wanted to see him have a good outing, get off to a good start, and he did. And he gave us an opportunity to settle in a little bit. Threw a lot of strikes, had a couple of 3-1, maybe 1-3-0 count, came back. I think he enticed a couple double play balls. But he had a really good outing first time out, and kept the pitch count right about where we wanted it. Really was excited to see him get through the sixth. I think he went into the sixth with maybe around close to 70 pitches, and I think he got him out, fairly quick, which was really good to see. But we wanted to see him get that sixth inning in, and then, Dominic, I thought he threw the ball pretty good, and Evan Taylor came in and did his job, and Heston came in and did his job there and struck out the right-hander there in the eighth, because that game wasn't over by any means. The wind had died down. The ball was going to start traveling better. We had 3 balls earlier in the game. If we'd hit them the second half of the game, they leave the yard. But that's the way it worked. The wind knocked down a couple of balls, and they had the best part of their lineup coming up. So we were a little on edge over there. And Evan and Heston came in and got it done there in the top of the eighth. So I don't know. We played solid defense, and tomorrow's a big game for both teams. We have a chance to win a series.
Hang on, Smith, how much does it speak to the confidence that you guys have in him, that he got into that jam in the third? They're in the heart of their order, and you guys didn't even go out and talk with him?
Yeah, we felt like that he was still throwing the ball good. It wasn't like he was scattering it. They kind of jumped him a little bit early count, sitting on the fastball. He came back and just did a tremendous job, and he pitched a little bit backwards compared to what he'd been doing. He threw a couple more breaking balls, change up, and fastball in to finish a hitter. So yeah, we have confidence. I guess Coach and I, we're not going to go out there unless we really have something we need to say. And I only go out there when I'm taking him out, so I don't say much. If I have something I want him to say, I'll say, why don't you go out and talk to him about this? Or Matt will just look at me and say, I'm gonna go talk to him. I say, good, go get him. And but we have a lot of confidence in Hagen, and we've seen it from the day he walked in the door that he could help us right away.
You mentioned his pitch count was up through 5. Was it just a matter if he was pitching well enough you thought he'd earned the 6th inning there?
It was a little bit of both. We wanted his pitch count to get around mid-70s at a minimum, because we're trying to build him up. He had, maybe one stressful inning, maybe one other was just a little bit, but other than that, he had some good innings. So, we'd have let him go to maybe 82, somewhere in there. So glad we didn't have to go out and get him.
What specifically was working for him on the mound today?
Well, I thought he did a great job throwing strike one, whatever he was throwing. Breaking ball, he landed a few of those. He threw 3 breaking balls to a left-hander right in a row and struck him out. That was really big to see. And so he's got a good changeup. His changeup is usually, I'd say it's the second best pitch behind his fastball, and he didn't command it as well as he normally does, but the breaking ball was there today. He threw a few good changeups, don't get me wrong. He had 3 things working for him. So I just say he had the fastball, spotting it up, in and out.
I think his last 2 scrimmages that you guys played both came indoors because of the weather. How did he look in those, and was there any thought about how he'd look outside after he pitched inside for the last few weeks?
His, the one that stands out to me was our last weekend when it was really, the weather wasn't great. We went inside and he threw great, and we were like, wow, he's ready to go. And I don't know. I just think that the scrimmage before that, he looked great. So our position players have a lot of confidence as well. They love the way he works fast, and he gets on the mound and he's ready to go.
Moore hit that home run. How big was that for the team after struggling yesterday?
I think it was big because obviously we never had the lead yesterday. We tied that game and had a chance to take the lead, and we didn't. A little frustration, and Hagen had just given us 2 pretty good innings, and I don't remember if they had the little rally going in the second or the third, but he got us in the dugout, and all of a sudden we had the lead, and I just think it was good for our team, maybe just to relax a little bit. They were a little looser today. They played a little freer today from what I saw, which was good.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about 5 runs, but what'd you think offensively overall?
Yeah, we had some really good innings. Like I said, we had some balls really hard. I mean, Slavin sliced one the other way that when it left the bat, I thought it was going out of the park and it was caught deep. And it seems like Lanzilli crushed one that got caught as well out base of the fence that got pushed down. Webb hit one oppo pretty good, back spun it, but it got right into that wind and got pushed down on the warning track. And so I like some of the swings. I like the fact that Slavins drove the ball the other way. But we have some guys that aren't hitting yet. I mean, you look at yesterday, the first 5 hitters were 0 for 17, and we still almost won the game. You know, today, you know, Wallace came through with a couple of big hits and drove in a run there. Then you have to move down to Robert, who hit in the 5 hole today, and he drove in 3 runs, was big. But you know, Borfin hasn't done what we know he can do. Stovall hasn't done what we know he can do. I mean, you could go on and on. There's a couple others. So we know we're going to hit. It's just sometimes it takes a little time, and we haven't really got that big 2-out hit yet in 2 days. You know, the one that kind of puts you over the top and finishes them off. We haven't got it yet. So if we don't get it tomorrow, I hope we win the game, and maybe it'll come next weekend in the tournament. But up and down the lineup, it's not as good as it's going to be.
I just wanted to ask you about the Illinois State pitching staff. You know, obviously they've pitched pretty well through 2 games here. Just kind of what have you seen from them, and do you think they're like a solid test that's going to prepare y'all for later in the season?
They're a real good test, and that's one reason I wanted to play them. They are very scrappy in the field, and their pitching staff throws strikes for the most part, and they're bringing a lot of different looks at us. You know, today it was the lefty throwing 90 miles an hour with a changeup and a curveball with a lot of experience, and then in the middle towards the end of the game, they brought in a left-hander just flipping it up there, and he got us out. A little frustrating. And then throwing right-handers are all throwing 90 miles an hour, a little more, and they throw it to both sides of the plate. I mean, I think they've done a great job, and they've used a lot of different people. So it's tomorrow's going to be an interesting game because you know both staffs have used a lot of guys. We feel like we've got a lot of guys available, and I'm sure they've got some guys hidden back there too.
Coach, you mentioned that Hagen Smith was throwing a lot of first pitch strikes. By my count, he had 19 of his 22 batter space. Have you ever seen something like that before?
I'm sure I have, but I don't know if I've ever been asked that. But that's a good question. I think he did a great job. I mention it because that's what I kind of felt like was going on. That's a big number. And if you throw 60% first pitch strikes, you're probably in good shape. But when you're throwing 80 or 85, whatever that is, percent, that's big time, and you can go to work after that.
I know you'd like to win yesterday, but do you see a silver lining maybe in that your team has to kind of this first weekend, battle through it, learn how to play in these must-win type games?
Well, it's like I tell them all the time. You have to play good, and winning's hard. You know, it's hard. These teams want to beat us, and first weekend, and trying to figure some things out. But yeah, we came out today with some energy, and like I said, Hagen throwing the ball over the plate, our infielders were ready to roll, and they made some nice plays and turned some double plays, and this has definitely been the first 2 games have been, when I think about non-conference opening weekends, this has definitely been a challenge, and we're gonna have to play good to win tomorrow.
And then I saw James McCann back out there today. What's it been like to have him around here the last couple of days? Has he had a chance to talk with the players?
Yeah, so I don't know if he talked to the players today. You could probably talk to Hagen about that. He talked to me yesterday about talking to the players. I asked him if he wanted to. He said he kind of did. He told me he was going to be here all weekend. So if it hasn't happened yet, Hagen, has it happened yet?
No.
Okay, probably happen tomorrow.
Okay.
He said since he just decided to load the family up and drive them in here since MLB's not going right now, and we appreciate that.
Anything else for Coach? All right, I'll do it. Thanks.
Okay.
You got Hagen and Rob.